my real estate family. I feel like I'm a vlogger right now. Got the camera and yeah, just quickly wanted to show you around just so you guys can see what everything looks like. But yeah, man, I noticed that a lot of you guys gave me some solid reception on the last video. I was honestly about to delete it, but I figured let me give you guys some value. And I am going to do something very similar again with this video, but everything I'm just going to speak about is going to be giving you a lot of tangible advice. So my advice here, guys, is make sure that you get yourself a pen, a pad, listen very closely. I just need you guys to concentrate and listen. I want to give you everything I know about following up so that there's no reason why you should not be making an extra 3, 4, 5, even up to 10 deals a month consistently utilizing the strategy. Now, of course, this is no one size fits all. This is not a get rich quick. But if you have the database, if you have the leads, if you have the volume, this will definitely work for you. Anyways, guys, listen very closely. I'll make sure I put up the montage and I'll make sure that the subtitles is at the bottom just to help and assist you guys, and enjoy. See you on the other side. All right, my real estate family. So when it comes to follow-ups, I see many agents struggle when it comes to this. And if you had to look at it from a psychological element, I also used to struggle with follow-ups purely because I hated it when someone would consistently follow up with me, especially if I didn't want to move forward. But back then, I was just way too scared to tell the person that I just wasn't interested. And this person would consistently call me and call me and call me. And I was hoping that they were going to get the hint and get the, read between the lines. But this person just didn't stop. And I found myself a couple of years later, now I'm in business and I need to follow up. I just couldn't follow up because I put myself back in that position, running down memory lane, thinking about every single person that relentlessly followed up with me, and it annoyed me so much. So I was left paralyzed because I just didn't know how to follow up. And truthfully speaking, I started making up excuses like, oh, well, if they're really interested, they'll come back to me. Right? It's so crazy how when you start to believe your own delusions, or you start to believe your own beliefs, you start to justify it, right? You start to rationalize it. And that's what I used to do. And to be honest, I regret that purely because I lost out on so many deals, purely because I just had that mindset. So for many of you guys, I know what I'm about to tell you is going to make you feel very uncomfortable. But this is very important, and it's essential for you guys to understand the perspective shift, because I remember when I was struggling, my core issue was that I just didn't want to bother people. I didn't want to be a pest. I didn't want to be too much. And the problem is that because I didn't want to be too much, because I didn't want to pest them, because I didn't want to bother them, that is what held me back. And I remember when I had a friend of mine who was killing it with his business. And I was just perplexed. I'm like, how is this guy killing it? What is he doing differently to me? And I remember I sat down with him. I'm like, man, please, can you just, let's have a chat over lunch. Walk me through everything that you're doing. And he was happy to do that. Honestly speaking, I needed to know what was this guy's secret strategy. I was like, maybe this guy is doing this. Maybe this guy is doing that. I started guessing and trying to figure out what this guy's strategy was. And when I sat down with him and he walked me through everything, I realized that this guy actually isn't that special. He isn't doing anything phenomenal or crazy. This guy is just a relentless person that follows up like crazy. And I was like, but don't you bother people when you follow up this way? And he said, no. And I was like, I don't know if I can follow up this much. And he was like to me, and this is what he said, which changed everything for me. He said to me, Wandile, look at it this way. He said to me, many of the business owners that you're engaging with are super busy. So if you're not following up, you're actually doing them a disservice because they forgot about you the minute they hung up, purely because there's other things that's pressing on their table. Maybe they've got family issues. Maybe their business is going up and down. There's so many things that's going on in their mind. You cannot think that you are that special that they're going to remember you and wait for you to call them. Okay, anyone who is waiting for you to call them, anyone who cannot wait for you to call them back, or they call you because you haven't called them back, they fall under one or two categories. It is either they literally have nothing else to do with their life, okay, and they're so bored that they just want to talk to you and work with you, and those are red flag clients because they're just going to expect so much from you. Or the other side is that they're just super busy and they don't have time. So he told me that 9 times out of 10, most of your leads are in the latter side. They're just so busy they forget. And he asked me, he's like, how many times have you said you're gonna do something and then you forgot? How many times did you say you're gonna call back someone and then things got so hectic you actually forgot? And I was like, damn, you're actually right. And sometimes I'd actually think about it to myself, like, this person didn't call me back. Why didn't they call me back? And I call them like, hey, why didn't you call me back? And the person comes back to me like, you said you're going to call me back. I'm like, oh, I said that? So the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is that step number one is you need to get out of your heads. Okay. And you need to shift your perspective. Gone are those days where you have leads that are just waiting for you. They're waiting for you to call them. All right. You're this special agent. You're this top agent who they know that when they're working with you, you're going to drive them the best results. You know, you're the celebrity in their eyes, right? They literally light up every time they see you. Now, if you are online and if you're doing the things that you need to be doing and you have high status, yes, your leads will treat you that way. But if you don't, and you're just like any other agent, don't think that your leads are waiting for you. Okay. And don't think that just because that you called them twice and they didn't pick up, that they're ignoring you or you're bothering them. No, they're just busy. And they see your calls, but maybe it's like, I can't get back to you. Or they'll tell themselves, okay, I'll respond or I will call this person back, and they forget. How many times do you guys get phone calls? How many times do you guys say, I'll call you back? How many times do you tell people that you'll get back to them or they should call you next week? And if they forget, or if they feel like, oh, I don't want to follow up with this agent because I'm going to feel like I'm bothering them, you forget about them. Guys, in this day and age, unfortunately, we are fed so much information. We're fed so much stimulants that it's very difficult for us to remember things. If I had to ask you last night, what content were you watching at 7 p.m.? You can't tell me. Why? Because you're consistently looking at content or you're consistently watching TV. There's so much going on in your life. Anyway, I don't want to go on too much about that, but the point I want to make for the first half is before I cover these strategies, you need to understand that the psychological element of following up is good, right? Because if you don't follow up, you're doing a client a disservice. Okay, so that's number one. So number two, this is the key part element around following up. Following up at the end of the day, guys, is you just want to ensure that you are staying top of mind in their busy world. And all you're essentially doing is helping them get to where they need to be. If you spoke to a buyer, if you spoke to a seller and they desperately need your help, if you don't follow up, you're just increasing that pain. You're just causing more stress in their life. But when you follow up, they appreciate it because even though they're going through all the stress in their life, they still have a business to run. They still have jobs. They still have so much things that's going on in their life. So when you are following up, that's just showcasing that you are being proactive. Okay. So listen very, very, very carefully. Okay. Just in terms of how to follow up and the best way to follow up. Now, I have spoken to all of my top clients who are killing it when it comes to closing deals. And they have told me that their follow-up process has accounted and equated to so many of their deals purely because if they call the lead the first time, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to pick up. So they don't stop calling until the lead says, stop calling me. That is their attitude. And I need you guys to also start adopting that attitude because if you don't adopt that attitude, guys, you are going to starve. I'm going to put a link in the description of a video of a celebrity realtor. His name is called Ryan Serhant. For those who know him, know him. If you don't know Ryan Serhant, then you're living under a rock. Okay, I'm going to plug in that video and I want you to watch the video. It's 5 minutes long, but it's a crazy story, guys. It is a crazy story of how Ryan Serhant, I think it's how he secured a $10 million apartment deal or $20 million apartment deal by relentlessly following up for months and months and months on end. It is a crazy story, but it's just going to show you the power of the follow-up. And the reason why I'm exposing you to this information is to help you understand that there's nothing wrong with consistently following up. If anything, your clients will respect you, especially if they are successful clients in business, because they understand the effort it takes to consistently follow up to get the deal. It also showcases that you're someone that doesn't give up. You're someone who will not give up when the deal goes south. You're someone who's not going to give up if they're not happy with where the deal is going. There's so many characteristics your clients get to see in you if it's the right client who has the right mentality of you consistently following up. Okay, so go check after this video, the link in the description, go check out that Ryan Serhant video. It's flipping crazy. Okay, so I always like to tell my clients that when they're running ads, okay, so these are for leads. If maybe you are running ads and you have leads coming towards you, I'll give you some strategies in terms of what's the best way if you're cold calling, okay, but you want to approach the two very differently. So I'll first talk about the leads that are coming into your system by utilizing our ads, or even just inbound leads. This could even just be referral leads as well. Okay, any leads that come towards you. This is what I always like to tell my clients, is that they need to calculate their contact rate. What is a contact rate? A contact rate is basically what is the percentage of people that you got hold of? So let's say, for example, you get 100 leads and you get hold of 20 of them. That means you have a 20% contact rate. That is very bad. I always like to tell my clients that you need to at least have a 70% contact rate. So in other words, if you get 100 leads that you've attracted, you need to at least get a hold of 70% of them. Why? Because all the top clients that I've worked with in my business that have done very well, over 6 figures, have over 70% contact rate, which means that they are getting in contact with 70% of those leads, right? 70 people. I am not saying these are leads that need to tell you, hey, I'm looking to sell my house. I'm not saying these are leads that need to bend over backwards and do jumping jacks because you call them and you're this agent who's going to help them. No, this is literally just people that you've contacted that have picked up the phone. They either said yes, they either said maybe, they either said no, but you got in contact with them. Now, if you have a very low contact rate, there's a very high chance that you're just not following up enough. Most of my top clients told me that initially, when they first call the leads, they have a 20, 30, even 40% contact rate. But when they consistently follow up, that is how it builds up to 70% plus. Okay, their goal always is to have an 80% contact rate, because then the more people that you're in contact with, the closer you're getting to either more yeses or more maybes. Maybes can also turn into yeses, and 9 times out of 10, a maybe is, I want to move forward, but I don't trust you yet. That's an ideal tip, especially for those who are running ads online. So once they've nailed down their contact rate to over 70%, the next step, okay, is to ensure that we book an appointment. But before I get into that, the best way to improve your contact rate, and this is what people are running ads online, this is the exact same framework that they use, and I'm going to share with you guys right now, okay? What I always tell my clients to do, and what the top agents do, is that when they make phone calls, now these are leads that have approached them or maybe filled out a form, they've come into the system or the pipeline, or they've reached out to them, they've acquired any lead that is coming towards you. This is what you want to do, okay? You essentially want to give them a call, and if they don't respond, then this is what you want to do. You want to call your leads at different times of the day, at least 11 times in 3 days. So listen very carefully, all right? I'm not saying you need to call them 11 times in 1 day. No, you're going to call them over 11 times over the course of 3 days. So what do I mean by that? Day number 1, let's say day number 1 is Monday. You're going to call them 4 times. You're going to call them twice in the morning, once in the afternoon, once at night. Then day 2, you're going to flip it. Remember, I said yesterday you're going to call them twice in the morning. Day 2, you're going to call them once in the morning, you're going to call them twice in the afternoon, and you're going to call them once at night. Day 3, you're going to call them once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and twice at night. Why do you need to call them more than once at certain times of the day? Because we need to figure out what time do your leads pick up the phone? What time do your leads respond to you? That is the key element here. And that's why day 1, you call twice in the morning. Day 2, you call twice in the afternoon. Day 3, you call twice at night. And then the other days, you call them once. Because we're trying to figure out which day, and number 2, which time do your leads typically pick up. Now, if you are calling 100 leads, you'll be able to then pick up. I've actually realized that most of my leads pick up on day 2 when I'm calling them in the afternoon. Or you realize, hey, I'm noticing that my leads actually pick up at night. Why is this important? Why do you need to call them so many times in the first 3 days? Because 1, their mind is still fresh of you, so they're still going to remember you. Number 2, we're trying to figure out as soon as possible what is the best time to call them, so that now we know what our data looks like. We can then call them consistently on that particular time. So what I mean by that is, let's say you get 100 leads and you realize, hey, I've noticed that most of my leads pick up at night between 5:30 to 6:30. So now you know whenever you get a lead that inquires, you will call them 5:30 to 6:30, because from your data, that's what it stipulates. And then you don't have to do any guesswork. You just consistently call them 5:30 to 6:30. And then guess what? That makes your life a whole lot easier because now you know that this is the time that I need to contact my leads. Instead of always having to try and figure out new things all the time, and you wonder to yourself, why isn't your business growing? Guys, business is all about tracking data and then consistently doing what works. So now that you know, okay, cool, my phone calls work best on a Wednesday at 5:30 to 6:30, or anytime during the week, 5:30 to 6:30, that is what you stick to. That's part one. Then part two is WhatsApps. So we're not just making phone calls, we're also sending WhatsApps because we are trying to see which method do our leads respond the best. Is it through phone calls or is it through WhatsApps? So WhatsApps, what we want to do is that we want to WhatsApp non-responsive leads at least 5 times in 3 days. So we're going to call them and we're also going to WhatsApp. Okay? And don't worry about what to say. I'll tell you exactly what you guys need to say. Okay? So day one, I always like to make sure that I send a WhatsApp to do a confirmation of the evaluation request. 9 times out of 10, it's mainly that. But you want to just confirm what they had asked for in a nutshell. Okay? That's the first message. And then what I like to do on the same day is I will send a voice note to confirm the valuation request. So let me give you an example. Let's say I had a seller who's like, hey, I'm interested in a valuation. I'll then send them a WhatsApp and be like, hey, James, just confirming if you still want the valuation, ? And then what I'll do later on in the day, I'll send them a voice note. But I make sure that the voice note is less than 15 seconds long. Do not send them, guys, paragraphs, number one. And do not send 3, 4, 5-minute long voice notes. Because then they're going to be like, oh, this is too much. I don't want to listen to this. You need to make sure it's literally as short as possible because they're going to listen to it because you've got their curiosity. There's less effort on their side. So then I'll send them a voice note and be like, hey, James, this is Wandile. I see you requested for valuation. Let me know if that's still what you want. And then I leave it there. Boom, done. Okay. If he still doesn't respond day 2, I'll confirm the address. So I'll be like, hey, James, just want to confirm, is this your address? ? And then what I'll do later on in that day, I'll actually send him a video. But I make sure the video is like 5 seconds long. Hey, James, this is Wandile. I just wanted to quickly show you that this is who I am. And I just wanted to find out if you got my messages because I want to make sure that I get you that confirmation of the valuation. Boom, done. Send over that video. And then number 3, what I would do is that I would send a desktop report valuation, but keep it very broad as possible. And I'd also send a breakup message and be like, hey, James, I'm actually working on your valuation. I'll send a screenshot, but I'm not sure whether I should or not. Please let me know if this is the case. If not, it's okay. I am happy for us to move on. And I leave it as that. Now, guys, you want to keep your messages as short as possible and make sure that whatever you're sending them, you're adding in curiosity. Don't give them too much information because if they can figure it out, then they'll be like, oh, well, I don't need this anymore. Okay. That is what you want to do from the WhatsApp side. Guys, WhatsApp, I have noticed, is amazing. That is literally where most of my clients get the most responses because you can be smart with it. Okay. Normally, sometimes what I will do is I'll send them a message first and then I'll do a voice note after because then they won't be able to figure out what's in the message. So they have to click on it and then they'll see the message. Right? Can you see how smart that is? So always try and figure out ways to pique their curiosity, which is very important. Now, if you're cold calling, let's say the lead is not picking up. Your goal is to call them as much as possible until they eventually pick up. Okay? Now, you can also do the same framework as I've mentioned if you're attracting leads, but for cold calling, the thing is they don't know you. So you don't want to spam them too much. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they're going to keep seeing your number pop up all the time. And if they're very paranoid, they're going to block you. Okay. So I would highly suggest if you're going to cold call, I would highly suggest that at least call them once or twice or even 3 times a week and then spend most of your time on WhatsApp because I can tell you 9 times out of 10, they'll respond to you more on WhatsApp. I've seen hands down, WhatsApp is the best way to go. And what can you do from a message perspective? Personally, look, we don't specialize in dealing with cold leads, but this is what I would personally do if I had to deal with the cold lead. All right. I would actually send them a WhatsApp message and be like, hi, is this James with a question mark? What am I doing? I'm trying to see who's going to respond quickly and who's going to respond first. Now, of course, they'll be like, yes, this is James. Who's this? Boom. Then I send a voice note. I'm not going to respond with a message. Hi, my name is Wandile from Chas Everett. I'm a real estate agent. I've got 20 years. No, guys, stop that. Stop that. Stop it, guys. Stop it, please. Stop it. That is how you lose in this game. You want to understand that it's all a game. You have to get them curious. You have to be sneaky with it in an ethical way. So after I ask, hi, is this James with a question mark? Of course, this person's going to respond. They don't know who this is. And I'd highly suggest, guys, do not send them messages with your professional account, because then they'll be able to figure, oh, there's a real estate agent block. Make sure it's with your personal account, so that when they actually see you, they see a profile picture. Maybe it's you and your kids, you and your wife. They're like, oh, okay, I don't know who this person is. And then look at your status. Then it has nothing to do with real estate. It doesn't talk about, I'm happy to help you with your buying. No, remove all that. Okay. Make sure it's as personal as possible. Okay. Now they can't figure you out. So now they're going to ask you, hey, who's this? And then you send them a voice message. But that voice message, guys, keep it as less as 20 seconds. You'll be like, look, this is a cold voice message. You don't know me. I don't know you. I just wanted to find out if you are keen on selling your house. If you are, please respond. If not, you can ignore my message and I won't bother you again. Boom, done. All right? Simple. And if they're keen, they'll respond. If not, they don't respond, but you can see they listen to the voice note and you can move on. That is literally the simplest ways, guys, to get them to respond. Okay? Now you know, okay, cool, this is not the right person. They're not ready. I can move forward to the next person. But the only way you can get them to respond, guys, is if you are consistent with the WhatsApp messages. So my advice would be, hi, is this James? And I can tell you 9 times out of 10, they're going to respond. Then you send a voice note. If they still don't respond to that, the next day, my advice, if they regularly update their stories, comment on a story. All right? Let's say they posted their child. Be like, oh, wow. Or let's say, for example, they posted their child. Let's say that their child is going to the UK. They're like, wow, congratulations. Okay? And then they're going to look at your comment. They're like, who is this person? And then they're going to see your messages. They're like, okay, they're going to listen to the voice note. Boom. Then you know whether they're keen or not. So comment on their statuses, for example. If, for example, they haven't responded. If there's someone that doesn't consistently update their statuses or their stories, then my next advice is you want to send a GIF. What would that GIF be? I typically send a GIF with a very funny GIF where it's like, hi, right? So I'll go on the GIF and I'll just type in hi or is anyone there? And then I'll find a GIF that has is anyone there? And I put that there. And then guess what? They'll be able to see that. Is anyone there? And now they'll be like, who the hell is this person? Right? So the point here that I'm trying to make here, guys, is that when you are cold following up, especially to get their response, you don't want to be like every other agent. You want to find ways to be more creative. Hence why I'm walking you through a WhatsApp strategy, which works very, very, very well. Trust me. All my clients rave about this because it's a very smart way to get their attention and they're going to respect you more for it. Okay? Now, let's say, for example, you send over your CMA report and they don't say anything whatsoever. All right? You want to follow the same process. Call them 11 times in the course of 3 days, morning, afternoon, and night. And then what you want to do is that you want to also send WhatsApp messages as well. Normally, what I like to do is that I always like to tell my clients, don't send a full CMA report. Send a CMA report that's very vague, that doesn't have enough, that has just enough information, but just enough for them to be curious. Like, I don't really understand this. I'm confused about a few things. All right. Some of my clients don't even add the value, and they do that on purpose. So they can be like, where's the value? I didn't get the value. Like, oh, sorry, I forgot to add that in. Actually, you know what? I'm going to be in your area tomorrow. Would you mind if maybe I can then drop by the CMA report and maybe we could have a quick discussion about it? Boom. Right? Now, I'm obviously giving you some sneaky tactics here, but they work. Okay? So you don't want to provide too much information at a CMA report because now you've literally given them everything that they need. And like, oh, well, I don't need you anymore. Bye-bye. Done. Normally, what my clients will do is that if they're going to send them a CMA report, they will either make the house value too low or they'll make the house value too high. And they'll make it extremely high or extremely low. Why? Because then they're going to send a message and be like, you know what? Unfortunately, it's very difficult to be accurate with the pricing. So if you want something more accurate, I would highly suggest that we just do a quick inspection. Therefore, I can give you an accurate result. Or they'll send a CMA report and they'll be like, is this what you are looking at as a question mark price-wise? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to respond because if it's too low, they'll be like, no, it's too low. If it's too high, they'll be like, no, it's too high. All right? Or oh, wow, it's too high. Or, wow, can we actually get it at that price? And then both answers will be like, look, it's very tricky to answer that question. The best way for me to actually give you an accurate answer is for us to have a face-to-face where I can actually walk you through, where I can actually take a look and see if you've done any renovations on your home. Well, normally what they would say is, have you done any renovations on your home? If they say yes, okay, awesome. I need to do a quick inspection on those renovations and then I can give you an accurate amount. But by the way, what numbers were you looking at? Just so that they can get an idea. And then they'll tell them the number. And then what the agent would then do is this, well, they would say, okay, cool. I'll do my research, but remind me when I see you in person what that number could potentially look like or how close we can help you hit those goals. Notice what I said. Remind me when I meet you in person if it is possible for us to hit those numbers or not. So what am I doing? I'm automatically future pacing that we're going to meet in person. You see how smart that is? Yes, I'm a genius, guys. You can tell me. So the goal here, guys, at the end of the day is phone calls, WhatsApps, and phone calls. It's all about volume. How consistently can you call them at different times of the day? And then the volume is making sure that you're at least calling them 4 times a day to see which time of the day do they typically respond. And then the WhatsApp side, the goal here is just to ensure that we know exactly how we're going to get their responses by sparking curiosity. Either send them a message, responding to their stories, send them a voice note, or send them a message that doesn't expose who we are immediately, but still getting them to be curious. That is literally the key, guys. That is literally the key. Now, if you guys want me to give you more follow-up strategies, more from the perspective of, all right, Wandile, how can I follow up if maybe there's a deal pending, or I sent the buyer this information, or I sent the seller information and they still haven't responded and they still ghosting me. If you guys want something more like that, drop it in the comments. Let me know if you want me to do a part 2 where I can give you guys some actual scripts. I'm even happy to give you guys some scripts that you guys can utilize. And I'll do a breakdown. I'll just do a breakdown of the documentation. If that's exactly what you guys want, comment down below and I will then do that for you guys. But I'll only do it if you guys want it. If you guys don't want it, then it's fine. I won't do it. If I don't see any comments, then I won't do it. But if you guys want it, I'm happy to give you guys the actual scripts, to give you guys the actual document, and to also give you guys this document as well. Let me know if you guys also want this document. I'm happy to give you this document that I have, which walks you through how to follow up, when to follow up, the 11 times, the WhatsApps, all that good stuff. I can give that to you guys absolutely for free because I care. I want to help you guys win at the end of the day. Okay, so if you've made it this far, I appreciate you. And trust me when I say that you're going to succeed because you're paying attention and you really want to thrive in your business, but you need to start implementing. Okay, just listening is not going to be enough. You need to start implementing. Anyways, guys, if you guys got a lot of value in this video, guys, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Share this with another agent, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.